and breathtaking driving fun. Electric cars are regarded as vehicles of the future, whereby the e-drive train is older than the car itself. In 1881, and 5 years before Carl Benz applied for a patent for his motor vehicle, French engineer Gustave Trouvé presented something in Paris that the world had not yet seen: a tricycle with a battery and an electric motor. In 1899, a road vehicle traveled at more than 100 kilometers an hour for the first time. An electric motor powered the record-breaking car of the Belgian racing driver Camille Genasi. Another milestone in the history of electronic mobility is the Lohner Porsche in 1900. The car designed by Ferdinand Porsche had 2 electric wheel hub engines in addition to an internal combustion engine, making it the first hybrid car in the world. The first heyday for electromobility followed. In 1910, for example, there were almost twice as many electric vehicles driven in the US as gasoline models. E-cars are odorless, silent, easy to drive, and above all, easy to start, without needing a heavy crank handle, like with an internal combustion engine. The first technical developments, such as the electric starter in 1911, bring greater advantages to the petrol engine car, combined with higher driving ranges. The second revolution for e-cars begins during the energy crisis in the early 1970s. BMW is given a large marketing platform at the 1972 Olympic Games in Munich to present the 1602E electric car. But the advertising effect for electromobility is fading fast. But it is only 20 years later that BMW builds the next e-mobile, the E1, with electric motor and brake energy recovery. At the same time, Audi tests the hybrid drive Duo for series production suitability. But the first series production hybrid drive vehicle comes from Japan. In 1997, Toyota built the Prius and makes eco-friendly cars socially accepted. In 2008, the American company Tesla builds the first icon of modern e-mobility with its Roadster. In order to be able to drive a distance of 340 kilometers, the fast sports car stores energy in a package of almost 7,000 laptop batteries. Tesla wants to revolutionize the world of mobility with its e-cars in a similar way to Apple with the iPhone in mobile telephony. More space than in a Mercedes, faster than a Porsche, more politically correct than a Prius. The Tesla S is the first purely electrically powered family car.
With the design form of the Tesla, one feels that things were borrowed from Aston Martin and Maserati. This creates this coupe-like elegance.
The classic form with a strong premium aura, the Tesla is noteworthy without being intrusive. In the interior, contemporary luxury, the screen replaces the center console.
What one notices is the large 17-inch touchscreen, which is larger than an iPad and which replaces all conventional buttons and switches. In a word, the car simply accelerates vehemently, and at the same time this happens jerk-free and smoothly, with a casualness that surprises, which is like a taut rubber band being released.
The acceleration of the Tesla is comparable to a silent detonation. From zero, there is immediate acceleration, no delay. The Tesla S covers the quarter mile faster than a BMW M5. The Tesla S does everything differently than a normal car, and a lot of things much better. The e-car from Silicon Valley shows how the car of the future could look. A gleaming white air-filled body, 600 horsepower, aluminum and carbon. Driving fun like in a real sports car. The Porsche Mission E is more than just a response to the Tesla S. It's years ahead of its time, both technically and optically.
The Mission E is basically a mixture of a 911 and a Panamera, and with that, Porsche has succeeded with a wonderful four-door vehicle.
In the interior, the E offers an intelligent interaction of real and virtual worlds.
As modern as the car design is on the outside, as futuristic it looks on the inside, it offers 4 adults, generous space on the 4 individual seats. Of course, the Mission E is not just an e-car. It should drive like a Porsche, like a 918 Spider in E-mode.
Superior power, long-range capability, and stunning design. The Mission E redefines electric cars. The Rimac Concept One, the fastest, most powerful, and expensive e-car in the world. Four electric motors accelerate the Croatian super sports car. Control electronics interlink all 4 motors to create an intelligent all-wheel drive. Long hood, short tail, the Rimac quotes the classic design elements of a Gran Turismo.
Inside, as expected from a car of this caliber, precise processing made from the finest materials. Although the car is relatively heavy, the acceleration capability is abstruse. These 4 engines actually produce 1,600 Newton-meters of torque, which accelerate the car in 14 seconds to 300 kilometers an hour.
1,600 Newton-meters and 1,088 horsepower push the Rimac smoothly forward to maximum speed from the first revolution onwards. The Rimac is a superlative example of an electric sports car, a car as powerful as a lightning bolt. Yesterday's design, tomorrow's technology. The Renovo Coupe is an electric super sports car from Silicon Valley.
The car has real power under the hood. It has 500 horsepower, accelerates in 3.4 seconds to 100, but is limited at 207, and I find that very sympathetic. The first e-car in retro look is the Renovo Coupe. With its short rear and long snout, it is reminiscent of the lines of the Shelby Daytona Cobra Coupe from the 60s.
Curved forms, loving attention to detail. The Renovo Coupe is an eye-catcher. In the cockpit and engine compartment, the Renovo Coupe looks like a racing car from the 1960s. Under the classic bodywork of the Renovo Coupe is state-of-the-art high-tech. The energy for the electric motor is stored in 3 lithium-ion battery packs, which can be recharged in just 30 minutes by quick charging. The Renovo Coupe, the coolest electric car in the world. No less spectacular in appearance, the Mercedes-AMG SLS Electric Drive, a super sports car with an impressive driving performance and exceptional driving dynamics.
The car has really exceptional driving dynamics, which is down to the fact that each wheel has a single electric motor which can brake and accelerate individually, something that a mechanical drive can't do.
The 4 electric motors together deliver 751 horsepower and a torque of 1,000 Newton meters. With this enormous thrust, the electric drive hisses almost silently in 3.9 seconds to 100 kilometers per hour.
The AMG SLS doesn't differ externally from the SLS, and that is one of the most beautiful German sports car for 20 years, with its long stretched snout, its short tail, and its wing doors.
The e-drive differs only in cockpit details to the normal SLS. In 2013, the AMG SLS e-drive starts a record-breaking race at the German Nürburgring. After 20.8 kilometers, the SLS becomes the first series production e-car to complete a lap at the Nürburgring in under 8 minutes. The AMG SLS Electric Drive is the first electric super sports car, an outperformer that is a cut above the rest. A super sports car from the future, the first of a new generation, the BMW i8.
I think the i8 has the most exciting design among all sports cars, and I particularly like this little gap between the C-pillar and the rear light.
It looks like it comes from another planet with its futuristic design.
The i8 presents itself as visionary and innovative. Behind the wing doors, the i8 welcomes the passengers with a digital cockpit like Captain Future.
When you accelerate with this car, it is very impressive how well the electric motor harmonizes with the petrol engine. This results in a power delivery that is incredibly linear.
When one sees and hears that there is only a 3-cylinder inside, you think in the beginning, this is a sham. But when you step on the gas pedal for the first time, then you really realize the power that is there behind it, and it completely blew me away.
The battery charging time for the plug-in hybrid is between 2 and 3 hours. The electric motor of the i8 sits at the front axle and contributes 131 horsepower to the sporty propulsion. Should it need to go faster, then there's the 3-cylinder turbo, which delivers unexpected vehemence. The smooth interaction between petrol engine and electric motor enables a top speed of 250 kilometers per hour. The i8 is the sustainable star among super sports cars, a spectacular and innovative statement. Spectacular, futuristic, smooth. The Vision Next 100 study shows how BMW imagines the car in 30 years. The Vision Next is emission-free. All important data is displayed on a large head-up display which notifies the driver of special situations. The driver can also decide whether he wants to drive autonomously or by himself. The BMW Vision Next, an impressive model of the future. It is the first electric hypercar. The Toroidon 1 megawatt is a car that breaks the boundaries of physics with its dynamics. But on the outside, the future tech car is more classic.
The Toroidon is a fascinating vehicle. It is reminiscent of the Le Mans version of a Renault Alpine from the 1960s, as well as being in French blue. It is certainly connected with the fact that the creator of the vehicle saw the film Le Mans with Steve McQueen at the age of 8, and since then, for whom everything revolves around Le Mans, and he actually promises to be able to win Le Mans once with this car.
The claim to fame is borne by the Toroidon in its name. It delivers an amazing 1 megawatt.
The car has an incredible 1,360 horsepower. That doesn't accelerate the car in 11 seconds to just 200, not even just to 300 kilometers an hour, instead to 400. If this is the case, then it will revolutionize the entire electric vehicle industry.
4 electric motors provide for all-wheel drive, which guarantees the Toroidon can transfer its incredible performance to the asphalt. Despite a maximum speed of 450 kilometers an hour, the Toroidon doesn't employ spoilers or wings. In the cockpit, there are sober toggle switches instead of touch displays. Minimalism for the speed record. Built in Finland, the Toroidon is a megawatt monster that moves beyond the normal parameters for road vehicles. Stunning shapes and alternative drives, the E and hybrid cars show that it's possible to combine exciting cars with innovative lightweight construction, exceptional driving performance, and environmentally friendly technology.
Until now, we've seen the fastest and most beautiful electric and hybrid vehicles. We now come to 3 super sport cars, which certainly not only belong to some of the most fascinating in the world, but also push the limits of hybrid technology.
A symphony in red, the LaFerrari.
Interestingly, the LaFerrari was no longer designed by Pininfarina, but in the own in-house design, so you can clearly see the strong influences taken from Formula One.
It is the essence of 70 years of sport and racing car construction, the essence of 70 years of Ferrari. The LaFerrari, the king of Italian supersports cars. Faster, more precise, and lighter. No other car from Maranello is more Ferrari than LaFerrari.
The technology from Formula One, with the care system incorporated in this hybrid system, I mean, what more do you want? It's the latest state-of-the-art with a stunning design, the ultimate. Actually, I think Ferrari would have to close the bulkheads after this car, because it will not get any better.
Enzo Ferrari was convinced that you had to dream a car before you could build it. LaFerrari would certainly have fulfilled all his dreams. Designed and developed by technical masterminds, built in the high-tech laboratory of a Formula One team, the McLaren P1. McLaren is synonymous with Formula One and high-tech like no other manufacturer. The P1 is a hybrid hypercar that has not existed in this form previously.
When you see the P1, you can already see this car is simply fast. It's developed purely on aerodynamics and speed in the wind tunnel, and that's exactly what you see in the car.
A car cannot be much more spectacular than the P1. Each millimeter of the P1 carbon body represents sophisticated aerodynamics. Flaps in the underbody, a tailgate that produces up to 600 kilos of downforce. The P1 cuts through the air like a jet.
This is Formula One for the road, and it is perhaps the fastest production sports car in the world.
The acceleration of explosive force, like a rocket at launch, means the P1 reaches its orbit in 16.5 seconds at tempo 300. The P1, the most extreme super sports car of the present era. The fastest German super sports car and the most expensive compromise between electric drive and full throttle is the Porsche 918 Spider. The hybrid racer shows how fast it really is. In Australia, in the outback, on hundreds of kilometers of straight, long highway without any speed limits. The 918 takes its power from 3 drivetrains. One electric motor sits at the front axle and one at the rear axle, in addition to a V8 engine. The combined power turns the 918 into a rocket.
If you press the accelerator with 800 horsepower, the sequences just happen very quickly. Where it has to slow down, where it needs to steer, that is certainly a problem for people who are not used to the speeds. When one steers too late, nothing at all can help.
The racing engine of the 918 is a superlative engine with 132 horsepower per liter of displacement. The V8 has the world's highest specific performance among street-legal, naturally aspirated engines.
As far as the handling of the car goes, it is incredible. You drive the car and you just don't understand the physics of this world. How it can steer, how it drives out from corners when I give full throttle, which is very impressive.
The electric motor on the front axle gives the 918 the traction of an all-wheel drive.
So it's really an achievement if one buys a supercar and there's already a possibility, with 800 horsepower, to stand out suddenly as environmentalists. It says, I'm concerned about the environment with a completely new technology.
In September 2013, the Porsche factory driver Mark Lieb launched a unique record attempt. The 918 was said to be the first production car in the world to lap the Nürburgring under the magic limit of 7 minutes. After 73 curves and 20.8 kilometers, the old record was shattered by 17 seconds. With hybrid expertise gained from the 918 Spider, Porsche developed the Le Mans racing car 919. The Porsche 919 is a speed monster. It has the most radical drive system of all its competitors. A small V4 turbo paired with an electric motor at the front axle. For this purpose, the 919 provides for braking recovery and exhaust energy. The Porsche 919 is a hybrid masterpiece built to win. Zero emissions, visionary high-tech and unique driving performance. E-cars and hybrid cars charge the environment with more emotion than any other automobiles. They are already demonstrating today what will be technically feasible in the future.